Welcome back to Overtime Fantasy, where we go beyond the whistle to bring you home a fantasy championship. I'm Mike Kinder. I'm here with the one and only Phil Corella. And I say the one and only Phil Corella not because he's the one and only, but he's the one and only person here with me today because Tyler Jeffries and Dan Hudgens are hitting the slopes.
Mm-hmm.
What's up? What's up, Phil?
What's up, dude?
What's up, dude?
What's up, bro?
What's up, bro? So, I gotta ask you a quick question.
What's up, bro?
You say "dude" a little funny. Do you say "dude" with one U or two O's?
Kind of depends sometimes. I mean, sometimes it's like a double O, and then sometimes it's like a triple U.
Triple, like, dude.
What's up, dude? And then, what's up, dude?
What's up? What's up, dude?
What's up, dude?
Dude.
Dude.
Doad.
Dude. That's one of those funky words.
All right, so, bro.
But I think I am the only Phil Corella.
You might be.
My name's made up.
I'm not the only Michael Kinder.
I'm not proud of it.
Yeah, I'm proud of mine.
Mm-hmm.
I'm definitely not the only Michael Kinder, considering the fact that I'm a junior.
Yeah.
But outside of me and the old man, I think there's a couple more actually.
I think so.
It's weird, dude. Like, I met my wife. I met Kim.
Yeah. I remember that.
Yeah. It was at your house.
It's sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So I met Kim, and we were out playing cornhole or partying or something, and she introduced me to one of her sisters. And one of her sisters, like I say sisters, is sorority sisters. One of her sisters' last name was Kinder. No relation at all. I've never met another Kinder that I wasn't related to. It was the weirdest moment of my life.
Well, what about the Kinder in the shipyard? Because I'm pretty sure there's another Kinder in the shipyard.
Yeah, he's not in the shipyard. He's in the address book, but he's not in the shipyard. He's somewhere else. I think he's like up in New York or something like that.
So it doesn't count?
It doesn't count.
Yeah, that's fine.
No.
That's fine. But yeah,
you said your name was made up. Wasn't it like Caraglio or something like that?
You know, we can't really pinpoint it. It goes back to the fresh off the boat days, you know.
Fresh off the boat.
Potatoes and whiskey days, you know. And they were like, your name is a little too hard to pronounce. So we're going to call it Corella.
We don't like you or your name. And Corella's not an easy name to pronounce. Like,
especially because it's Caralla, not Care. So, whatever. Tomato, potato.
Tomato, potato.
Same stuff.
All right, so today we have a little more interesting stuff to talk about rather than our last names and people we know and all that. We're going to talk a little bit about the new rookie class of running backs coming in 2019.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're undrafted right now. You know, the draft has not happened. But so mostly what we're going to talk about today is going to be just on the skill of the people. Yeah. You know, it is going to be fantasy relevant. You know, a lot of these people, and Phil will agree with me, they may be the best looking person in the draft, but if they don't go to the right team, you may not draft this person, right?
Right, exactly. And that's what we're going to discuss tonight. Some Hoosker do's and some Hoosker don'ts.
Hoosker do's and Hoosker don'ts.
It's basically one of those Joe Dirt scenarios, man. I mean, you got the goods and then you got the bads, and we're going to figure them out. Cheers. So, clink clank.
Clink clank.
One bing bang.
Clickety clack, you're tricking off your track. Got him mid drink, everybody.
Yep. That hurt. Yeah, this time somebody else would have took the mic, but we're
like in a ghost town here, man.
Yeah,
like there's so much room for activities in this room.
There is, and it can get dangerous in here. But yeah, let's kick it off.
Yeah, let's
man.
jump on it before everybody tunes out and stops listening to us.
I know, which you know, it's. I wonder how many are like, well, we're trying to get to it.
Well, we've been trying. We're done with these guys.
Yeah.
Bombers. All right, so what's going to happen here is Phil is our resident expert. He is the guy that knows the rookie class coming in. I've done some research, but not nearly to the extent as Phil knows. So Phil is going to be doing most of the talking today. I'm going to introduce the people that he has on this list. So you gave me a list 1 through 6. Are these guys in order or
no? There's no particular order to it, and this top 6 are guys that you probably have heard of, and if you haven't, you know, we're going to bring it to light. But some guys that you definitely want to focus on if they go to the right personnel. If they go to the right team, these guys can be a instant starter or instant contribution to that team.
All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to read their name, what school they're from. I'm going to give their combine scores, and if I don't give a combine score, it means they didn't participate in that. So the combine scores I'm going to be reading are the 40, the bench press, the vertical, the broad jump, the 3-cone drill, and the 20-yard shuttle. All right, so first up on your list that you have Josh Jacobs from Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
He's 5'10", 220 pounds, and he did not participate in anything. What do you think about this guy, and why do you like him? Why is he on your list?
Well, I think he's a little bit smaller than 5'10". I think he's right around.
Was he on his tiptoes?
I think they try to
spike his hair.
Basically, you know how you probably not because you've always been like a gargantuan human being. But for somebody of my stature, whatever, potatoes.
They might make a statue.
You might not meet the requirements to ride that ride. So you got to do things to elevate yourself before you go into that line, like stuff your shoes full of toilet paper and you gain an inch or two. All right, so I think Wikipedia or online just kind of giving him that extra boost.
Give him an extra inch.
Yeah. So, yeah. But Josh Jacobs, this is a guy that he wasn't even really a starter until the last few weeks of the season and into the playoffs. So the thing that I see about Josh Jacobs is a guy that works extremely hard because of the recruiting class that he's come into and the guys that he's had to sit behind and stuff like that. And this guy did it all. Special teams, third down back. He's every down back he can be. So, and especially to be at a team like Alabama where you have to, you're going to be in a running back by committee situation. So Josh Jacobs, he ran a 4.6 40 at the Alabama Pro Day. Now, I'm not too high on 40 times because I'm not looking for a guy with track speed. I'm looking for a guy that has good game speed. And if you look at the tape against Clemson and Georgia and Auburn, this guy is burning. Like he's keeping up with every single person on the field, and he is an explosive back.
Yeah. Now what you say there? Yeah, that 40 speed doesn't give you everything.
No, to me that means that you're really quick off the line as like a track guy. Like your hands in the ground and you go, but running backs these days, they're not going full speed downhill. They're in the shotgun a lot. They're going lateral more. So I'm not really
wait for holes to open.
I mean, think about Le'Veon Bell.
Yeah,
the most patient running back in the league, and he has close to the highest yards every single year he's been playing. So I'm not too worried about his 40 time. I'm really not.
Yeah. You got more?
Yeah.
You go ahead.
Yeah. So this guy. There's different comparisons out there to this player, and the one that I did the most research on was Maurice Jones-Drew. I mean, they're both physical. They're low center of gravity. They don't shy away from contact. They break tackles, which Josh Jacobs does. He breaks a lot of tackles, and he catches the ball. Now, if you guys know anything about Maurice Jones-Drew, he played wide receiver and running back in high school, and he returned kicks. So did Josh Jacobs.
Yeah.
So... And as far as the stature-wise, I mean, I think Jones-Drew is like 5'7", 5'8". I think Jacobs is around 5'9". They're about the same weight, and they ran pretty much the same speed. So that's my comparison. Other guys have different opinions, but that's what I see.
Yeah. What I really noticed about Josh Jacobs, because like you said, he didn't really come on till the end of the season. He didn't get that starting role. And you see Alabama, they're playing like Citadel and all that, so you're not really paying too much attention to Alabama. Like, okay, they're going to beat these guys by 60.
Right.
When you really start to pay attention to Alabama is in the playoffs, and when they played Oklahoma, and we sat down and watched that game, I spilt my beer jumping up and down when he ran that guy over from Oklahoma to go into the end zone. I was like, that is a man running that football.
This guy wasn't running to the left, to the right. He wasn't trying to go away. He ran like a bullet at him.
Straight through.
Yeah.
And I check out highlight films and stuff like that, and it's like every highlight film, that's the first play. Like,
right.
It's crazy. He just ran so hard in that moment, and he's a very powerful back. He's the guy that you want to have the ball on the goal line.
Yeah, I mean, because you never know what he's going to do, really. You don't know if he's going to try to break your ankles down or just completely just lower everything he has into you and try to make you look stupid. I mean, that run was a statement to me. I'm like, okay, we got to check out who this guy was. I mean, in high school, he was only a 3-star running back coming out of high school.
Yeah.
And his offense was a wildcat. So basically, he was at quarterback. He got the ball and just took off running. So he has natural running ability. He has natural hands. I mean, if he goes to a team like the Raiders, he might struggle a little bit just because I don't know how great their offensive line is going to be this year.
But they got a decent offensive line.
Okay.
And especially since they signed Brown.
Okay.
I think they have a pretty good offensive line this year.
Okay. And if he goes to a team like the Philadelphia Eagles, which they're predicting him to go, some experts, analysts, whatever, they're predicting him to go to the Eagles, which I think that'd be a really good fit for him because he can kind of take the role over of Darren Sproles and I think Jay Ajayi. I don't think he's even coming back now. I don't know. I think the Eagles are trying to explore options for him.
Yeah.
So I think that would be a good fit. Or I'm going to say this team a lot, the Kansas City Chiefs, because
they're in the market for
for a running back.
Unless they trust Damian Williams like that, but they are in the market.
Right, but you can't, especially if you have an offensive line like them, you want a back like this guy that you can just plug right in and be your Kareem Hunt,
And like you said, he catches passes and everything. Like he could be dangerous in a place like Kansas City.
Exactly.
Yeah, and so so do you have anything else on Josh Jacobs? Where do you think he's going to go?
To me, I think the Eagles will actually end up scooping him up, or one of the Raiders have 3 picks in the first round.
Yeah, something like that.
Or the Raiders might take a shot at him.
They got all the picks.
But I think he'll go later, probably between pick 20 something. So I think it's either going to be late first round or early second round.
Yeah, that'd be a good spot. Raiders would be a good spot for him.
Yeah, I believe so.
All right, so moving on. The second one that you have on your list, and like you said earlier, this is in no particular order. Justice Hill from Oklahoma State, another 5'10", 198 pounds. His 40 time was a 4.4. His bench 21 times. His vertical 40 inches, and his broad jump was 130 inches.
Yeah, I mean, for a guy that's 5'10", have a 40-inch vertical is ridiculous. This guy, I've been watching him since he was a freshman, and he was playing with one of my favorites who plays for the Seahawks right now, Chris Carson. So he was backing him up, and I was really impressed with him as a freshman, a true freshman coming out there and just taking over, really. And to see his film, he reminds me, his college game film reminds me of Devontae Freeman. They both use the jump cut a lot, and their lateral movement is a lot better and more NFL ready than I've seen in a lot of college running backs. So like I said before, he has good enough track speed and can burn you once he gets going. He doesn't have the best shiftiness. When I mean, he's not like a Barry Sanders. He's not a LaShawn McCoy. He's not going to juke you out, but he will figure out a way to get around you. He has good vision. He doesn't have the best hands, but I think if he goes to a team like the Chiefs or the Raiders and all that stuff, but I mean even Tampa Bay. I mean Tampa Bay Buccaneers are in desperate need of a running back, and I think he would fit in their system a lot. They don't throw to the running back a lot, but I don't know what Bruce Arians is going to do as well. But the other thing is he can also go to a team that has an established running back already and be a good second fill-in for that guy to get a breather every now and then,
Yeah.
Because it looks like a lot of teams now that are making it deep into the playoffs have a good 1-2 punch.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Look at the Saints; they are the model of that 1-2 punch.
Right, and I could see him maybe going to the Ravens. Him and Mark Ingram in that read option would be kind of dangerous.
Yeah.
So that's something to look at. But yeah, this is one of my favorite running backs here. I think.
Yeah.
After seeing his 40 time, I was like, okay, because he looks so smooth on game film that you don't really know how fast he is. But to see him run the fastest 40 for the running backs, I was very impressed with that.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. Like, I don't want to say he's my favorite running back, but just the way he runs is just incredible. Like, like you said, he's so, he's got great vision, and The one thing I noticed that I loved about him is his non-ball hand was always cocked and loaded and ready to throw that stiff arm.
Exactly.
He's going to have some nasty stiff arms in the NFL.
Yeah, I think, and for him to be not even 200 pounds is impressive for the way that he runs. Like, he runs downhill and he knows how to lower his shoulders, so that's good.
Yeah, and he also had a good amount of bench presses as well. You know, his bench doing 21 times for a running back isn't bad.
No, he's a strong guy.
Yeah, so he's going to be impressive. In my opinion, he's of the 10 to 15 running backs that I've looked at, he's like my favorite just by his style of running.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else on Justice Hill?
Nope, just get ready to pick him up in waivers one day, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, it's going to be hard to draft one of these guys. It will be. Depending on what team they go to and what happens in the offseason, you know, I don't see... There's no Saquon Barkley. There's no Ezekiel Elliott. There's no Todd Gurley in this draft class. You know what I mean? I don't see that. I don't see like a clear-cut top 10 pick for the NFL draft. I see guys that, if given the opportunity, will make the best of them, for sure.
Yeah. And you know, I feel like this draft class is, you know, anybody that you get, like, I do see you drafting a few of these guys, but they're going to be late round.
Yeah,
there's
late
nothing...
guys. Because
you're not drafting any of these guys in the top 5 unless they really impress during training camp and they really impress during preseason. That's about the only way.
Like, because you never know what's going to... Because, I mean, we were high on Darius Geis last year, and he tore his ACL in the first week of practice. So you never know what happens in the offseason. So it's good to know what backs, what these teams have in their backfield. I mean, you hear a guy like, who's Justice Hill? Like, oh, man, who's this guy? And then you turn on his tape and you're like, oh, they might be okay.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. All right, so moving on to the guy that you have next is Darrell Henderson from Memphis. He is 5'8", 208 pounds, with a 40 time of 4.49, a bench press of 22 times. Vertical was 33.5 inches, and his broad jump was 121 inches.
This is a guy who is the biggest home run threat in coming into the draft right now. This guy, if he gets going, good luck. I'm serious. He looks like...
His game film looked faster than a 4.49.
Yeah, well, if you look at his second 40 time, his second 40 run, when he took off, his first, I guess, 20 yards were the fastest, what's the word I'm looking for?
Explosiveness.
It was the fastest 20-yard time that was registered. So,
because they run like those ghost cans.
Yeah, so if you run the simulcast and all that stuff. But this guy, his second 40 was like, oh my God, the camera's going to catch up almost. Yeah. But looking at his game film, one of his best games was against UCF, you know, and then UCF's supposed to be, the number 1 team in the nation and all this blah, blah, blah. But he went crazy in that game, and you just see these long runs after long runs after long runs, and he reminds you of a Dalvin Cook. Dalvin Cook in college would break off these long 70, 80-yard runs. It's crazy. Dalvin Cook, by all means, is much more shiftier. He has that, you know, spin move. He has the quick step and all that stuff. But Henderson is more of a hit the hole and just go.
Yeah.
He's not going to make you miss in the open field a lot of the times. I don't see that happening, but he is a guy that will lower his shoulder, and he's fast. I mean, he's a burner. So I can see if him going to a team like Green Bay, for instance, because they're in shotgun a lot. Yeah. A team like the Ravens, which, I mean, I'm going to keep saying around the same teams that need a running back, but also him going to Minnesota and being that second string for Dalvin Cook, because he's been having injury issues with his hamstrings and his knee and stuff like that. You never know what these guys can do.
They got rid of McKinnon, so
they
need a backup.
They need a backup. So I could see him doing well, just given the opportunity, and depending on what team he goes to, that's all.
Yeah. So what I saw, you know, Henderson can cut it back with the best of them, and he's got the speed to outrun everybody on the team. He's really fast. Like I said, that 4.49 doesn't equate to what he does on that field. You know, just watching a highlight, like the main thing that I saw is he was always running through monster holes. So like he wasn't, you know, creating stuff himself a lot of times. Like, but he was so fast that hole would open up and he would be gone.
Yeah, and one of the things about him is, which I think an offensive lineman, he sets his blocks up really well. So what I mean by that is, he gives the offensive lineman enough time to get to where he needs to go before he makes his cut.
Yeah, that cut that he does, like where he'll be bouncing it left, and then boom,
right,
he'll hit the hole to the right and just be gone. Just because that's just the lane that opens up in that moment. It's incredible. There's just that vision to see that and go. He does have some tackle breaking ability.
Yeah, he breaks a lot of tackles.
And I'll tell you, the tackles that impress me the most that he breaks are the ones that try to get him from behind. And you know how they're running, they keep their knees high and everything, but it looks like somebody shot them in the back of the calf.
Right.
Just the way they kind of stumble.
Right.
He did that a lot, and I'm just like, man, anybody else, I think they'd be down, but this guy is he just keeps it going, keeps the high knees going, and pumps it into the end zone.
Yeah, you're not going to take him down without wrapping him up. So I mean, I know in the NFL, speed is everything; it's everywhere. But given just a bit of daylight, and he can make some things happen. So
absolutely,
yep,
absolutely. All right, so moving on to another one that I like. It's on Phil's list, but I like this guy. Devin Singletary from Florida Atlantic. He's 5'7", 203 pounds. His 40 time was 4.66. His bench press was 15 reps. His vertical 35 inches. His broad jump 117 inches. 3-cone drill 7.32 seconds, and his 20-yard shuttle was 4.4.
So this guy reminds me, the best player comparison I can give him would be Frank Gore. They're both in the same stature. They both ran around the same 40 time, and the way that I saw him go through the cone drill at the combine, how smooth he was in and out of his breaks, was like, okay, this guy looks like Frank Gore. I'm looking at Frank Gore's tape, and I'm like, wow, they are very similar. So he's a very patient runner. This guy is your low center of gravity, hitting the hole, and will break a lot of tackles. One of the games I saw that, I guess against a top-tier team was Oklahoma in the first week of the season last year, and this guy just kept on coming. He kept coming, did not shy away from any contact, was lowering his shoulder every time. He runs tough, he runs physical, and given to the right team. I can see him going to the Colts. I can see him going to the Bills and being like the mentor behind Frank Gore, or staying in Miami or Tampa. Yeah. I can see that for this guy, a guy that will be more in the single eye formation, would actually benefit his style of running. But yeah, or in San Francisco with the West Coast style, I can see that happening. Because his tape comparison wise to Frank Gore is kind of identical.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I don't see him going to San Francisco because they are loaded. But what I like, Singletary, he has good vision. He really does. And really it goes with any running back these days. But you can see when they don't have good vision how they run into traffic and everything. And I don't know if that'll, turn over to the NFL, but he's got good vision, and he's really like a kind of a one cut and go type back.
Yeah.
And he's got the power to run people over and break tackles. I like what I saw.
Yeah.
Out of Singletary.
In his junior year, or basically last year, not the year before last year, when they went up against UCF. Another time a running back went against UCF, who was supposed to be the national champions, their best defense, blah, blah, blah. This guy had a run against UCF that he broke probably about 8 tackles and scored a touchdown. I mean, the kid can run the ball, so how he went to Florida Atlantic is beyond me, because I think he has the talent to be at a higher school, but maybe he just didn't want to go far away from home. But yeah, look out for him as well going into fantasy season next year.
All right, moving on to Damian Harris from Alabama.
All
He's
right.
5'10", 216 pounds. His 40 time was 4.57. Bench press 16 times. Vertical was 37 inches, and broad jump was 121 inches.
This guy is, I think Damian Harris is like the ultimate team player. I think he will fit in anywhere and be like that special teams guy and be the guy that no matter what he's going to get on the field, it's just how. And that's him. I mean, this guy comes in as the number one running back in the nation out of high school, 5-star athlete, and he has to sit behind Derrick Henry and Kenyon Drake his first year, but he still gets some reps. The next year, he has Bo Scarborough and who was it? Bo Scarborough and somebody else, and he had.
I'm blanking on that.
I'm blanking on the name. I think it might have been. Shoot. Oh, it was Josh Jacobs. Duh.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so yeah. So he sat behind his freshman year and then comes out the next 3 years and leads the team in rushing at 1,000 yards each year. All right, so the guy, and on top of that, they're coming in with another 5-star Najee Harris and another 5-star, another 4-star, and this guy's like, wow, am I not enough? Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
But given that you have 2 Alabama running backs that could possibly be taken in the first 2 rounds and are potentially the top 2 running backs in the draft, that tells me a lot about Damian Harris.
Yeah.
All right, so I can see him. My comparison wise is Carlos Hyde. I think they have the same type of running style, and they both don't shy away from contact, and they don't ever run out of bounds, really. His hands aren't the best, but I think if he goes to a system like the New Orleans Saints, now I know they just picked up Latavius Murray, but I can see them kind of building up to being like a Mark Ingram, Kamara type deal with Damian Harris because he is that team player, and I think Sean Payton would actually like a guy like that.
Yeah. Harris to me, he's got that power to run over linebackers, but he's also got some breakaway speed, man. Like there was a lot of times where cornerbacks are pursuing to, chase him down. He just gets to the end zone before they can get to him.
The only one that chased him down was Adoree Jackson, and Adoree Jackson is like a 10 flat 100-yard meter runner.
Yeah.
So I mean that's okay.
And that goes to show you that 4.57 just doesn't turn over to game speed like you've been preaching. Game speed and track speed are 2 different things, and it's just there's something about it. You hit that top speed and you're gone.
Yep. Because I mean I'll tell you right now, Mark Ingram, his combine was probably one of the worst I've ever seen.
Yeah. And
you look from what he went from his 40 time and all that stuff to now he's more explosive, and he's shiftier than ever. So I think that, and I can also see him being like a Mark Ingram. They run the same way. So him going to a system of a multiple backfield will not shy away from him being a competitor that he is. So I think he's probably the most NFL ready running back in this draft because he's a senior.
Yeah.
So, and he played at Alabama.
And he's going to be durable enough to withstand in the NFL.
Right. Exactly.
All right. Moving on. The last one that you have on your list, your top 6. You have more that you want to talk about after this, but this is your last one on your top 6. Is Miles Sanders from Penn State. He's 5'11", 211 pounds. His 40 time was 4.49. His bench press was 20 times. His vertical, 36 inches. His broad jump, 124 inches. 3-cone drill was 6.89 seconds. 20-yard shuttle was a 4.19.
Yeah, I mean, this combine that he produced was very good to watch, especially what I liked the most was the cone drills. I mean, he was very, very smooth getting out of his cuts, and also was the pass catching that he produced. I was going into the combine. I wasn't sure about Miles Sanders because he was sat behind Barkley for the last 3 years or 2 years, whatever it was, and he didn't have much game film. So I'm like, okay, what's he gonna do in the combine? So I saw his 40 time. I said, wow, okay. I saw his leaping ability. I said, wow, okay. Then I saw him catch the ball, and I said, okay, this kid's got something.
Yeah.
So I can see this guy, as far as checking out his game tape and stuff like that, he runs as smooth as Cadillac Williams. That's my player comparison. If you look at him and you look at Cadillac Williams, it's like, whoa. They both wore 24. Maybe that's what drew me to that.
Yeah,
But
I do
seriously,
that a lot. Like when I'm trying to compare somebody,
Right.
I'm like, oh, he's got number 5 on. He kind of looks like Reggie Bush,
right.
You
And,
know?
and I'm like, man, like, but honestly, he looks and runs just the way that Cadillac Williams does. I mean, he lowers his shoulder. This guy jumps over people. Okay. And he can catch the ball. I mean, that's everything you want in a running back these days. So, I mean, I see him maybe going to somebody like the Jacksonville Jaguars. I see him going to somebody like maybe the Dallas Cowboys. Kind of giving Zeke a little bit of rest every now and then might not be a bad idea.
Zeke needs somebody to back him up.
Right.
I will say that because he's not going to last forever if they just keep pounding the ball
Right.
with him
I mean,
every play.
Think about the production he had before Amari Cooper got there. It's
Yeah.
like I think he was the one that was happiest to see that happen because it's like,
Finally.
yeah, you give this guy the ball every single play of the that you have on offense. It's like, wow, okay. So I think he can fit in there. Houston would be another one I think would be a good fit for him. But yeah, so I can see him being. I don't think he's going to be a starter in the league just because I think he needs a lot more room to learn and grow into an NFL back. But he will definitely be a good second string back in case anybody goes down. You know, he'll be there to do that.
Yeah. And second string backs aren't necessarily, not, fantasy
Right.
relevant.
Exactly.
They produce as well in the NFL.
Exactly.
Sanders is he's so shifty, man. Like his
lateral movement is a lot better than people are giving him credit for.
Yes.
Just seeing his combine will show you that.
Yes. And his highlights, like when I was just watching his highlights, it literally looked like they greased him down because he was like just breaking tackles. I couldn't believe, how many tackles he was breaking with how shifty and fast he is. He was also breaking his tackles mainly because they didn't have their body in front of him. Mm-hmm. They were off to the side because he just made a cut, and so he's just breaking through arms the whole time. He's got like super quick feet. I've seen a couple times where he makes a cut and is still traveling north and south the entire time. It doesn't even slow him down when he makes that cut, and it's so impressive.
Yep. And another guy that I saw a couple analysts, they were kind of comparing him to Noshawn Moreno, and I think they have about the same ability. And again, they both wore number 24. So, I mean, there might be something there with the 24, but I don't know. So, yeah, I can see him doing pretty well if he gets the right chance. Yeah. Good opportunities out there for him. He just has to find one.
So you had some more that you wanted to talk about.
Yeah.
Just kind of like a spitfire, hit the rest of them. Don't have a lot of road up for them or anything like that, but there's still people you want to be interested in. These people are going later in the draft. They're not going to be first and second round, but they're going later. And guess what? Those guys are impressive in the NFL. Look at Philip Lindsay this year. Undrafted.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, there's these guys that we're going to talk about are guys that tapes that I was impressed with, but aren't getting enough recognition that I think they deserve. Because to me, where they play and who they play in college tells me a lot about a back. So basically, you have a back in like the Pac-12. Okay, they play against some of the worst defenses ever. But you have a back in the SEC, or you have a back that's in the Big Ten and all that stuff. I mean, guys who play teams with top caliber defenses. That's who I'm trying to see what they do, and I'm trying to see how they performed against those teams. You got a guy like Devin Singletary. I think that's his name, from Iowa State. Everybody's trying to give him some burn and all that stuff and saying that he's going to be one of the top backs out there and everything. And I'm like, all right, well, who's he played? And you're looking at Iowa State, you're like, I'm not too thrilled with what I'm seeing.
Devin Singletary was the Florida Atlantic. You're talking about David Montgomery.
David Montgomery, my fault. Yes, I'm sorry, David Montgomery. This guy, I mean, he's a good back. Don't get me wrong, but I don't see the game film that I'm seeing from somebody like Elijah Holyfield, who's not getting a lot of credit because of a 4.7 40. Okay, but he's playing LSU and he's outrunning Devin Bush, or not Devin Bush, the top linebacker in the NFL draft right now. And he's running over top safeties and top corners. Like, I don't care about a 4.7 40 if the guy plays for Georgia and plays defenses like LSU and Alabama and Florida. I don't care. You know, I just don't. I know that that this guy can play ball.
Yeah.
So why not give him the opportunity and like stop predicting everything on like, oh, it's a bad 40 time. His draft stock just went undrafted. He can't. This guy cannot be a running back in the NFL.
Yeah.
It's like, are you kidding?
Yeah, the only time they're going to run, like, if they're giving it their all and no injury or anything like that, and they run like a 5 flat, that's where it's going to be like, whoa, hold on a second. This guy can't run.
Terrell Davis was a 6th round draft pick.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, look at, like, there's running backs every year that go nearly undrafted or undrafted that come out and they play well in the NFL.
Yeah. And then you got a guy like, let's just put it out there, like Eddie Lacy and Trent Richardson. The guys who were so big on everybody's radar, they got a little too big in their minds.
Literally.
And just fell off.
Yeah.
They didn't have the work ethic because they're like, I got a contract, I'm good.
Yeah. Yeah.
These guys down here at the bottom, they're hungry. So
that's and I keep bringing his name up. That is something you can see when Philip Lindsay runs the ball. That guy is hungry.
He's
man.
pissed. This guy, he's like the Tom Brady of running backs. You're gonna pass up on me? Okay.
Undrafted rookie makes the Pro Bowl. Yeah. He broke his wrist or whatever he did at the end of the season, and had to have a substitute in the Pro Bowl. But just a monster, dude. Undrafted.
Right.
He won people fantasy leagues. He got people to the championship game. You know, he sat out the championship game, but he got people there.
Right.
So, anybody else you want to talk about? I see your list has.
Yeah. All right. So here's just some guys I'm gonna spit out there that I was impressed with. Dexter Williams from Notre Dame. He had a really good tape. I liked him. I think given the opportunity to go on a team, he can make his way onto the roster and perform well. Jordan Scarlett. He didn't have the best film, but I remember seeing him run live in action against Georgia and Auburn and all the top SEC schools, and he's got breakaway speed. He can catch the ball and he blocks. He's a team guy. He had some off-field issues, so I'm not too familiar with all that, but I know given if he gets there, he can do well. Mike Weber. I mean, you want to talk about your Ohio State buddy or what?
Yeah.
This guy is a beast. I mean, he's a good running back. Just
Weber come out, started as a freshman, which doesn't happen often in Ohio State. And then the following year had another freshman coming behind him, and dude's a monster. Like, J.K. Dobbins is somebody we're going to be talking about next year.
Yep.
And I'm hoping to see, without Mike Weber there, to see what he can do this year. But, Mike Weber, he's a great running back. He's got decent hands. He can make cuts. He can run people over. He's a little bit bigger. I like Mike Weber. I always have ever since he started. Ever since he went to Ohio State, I was excited about this guy. And I think a lot got toned down with J.K. Dobbins being there. So I don't think you got to see the full Mike Weber.
Right.
But he's a good running back. I think he'll go to a team, do a little backup for a couple of years, maybe get a starting position. And 2021 or whatever.
Yeah,
he's a decent running back to keep your eyes on in dynasty leagues. He'd be a later round pickup that you'd want to put on your roster.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with that. I think Mike Weber is going to be he's going to make a name for himself. But just when is going to happen is what we got to find out. Bryce Love from Stanford. This guy, he backed up Christian McCaffrey.
He went to the Heisman candidate 2 years ago.
Right. Unfortunately for him, he had a bad senior season because of an ankle injury, and he tried to play through it, but he kept getting it re-injured. So probably if he went to the combine, he probably would have ran the fastest 40. He has amazing speed. The only thing that worries me is he's kind of injury prone. But does that mean that you're going to pass up on a guy that can potentially run a 4.33? Obviously not. I see Andy Reid making a move for this guy late in the draft because we all know how much Andy Reid likes to get guys that have speed. I mean, Jeremy Maclin, Deshaun Jackson, Tyreek Hill, DeAnthony Thomas. I mean, these are guys that run like a 4.2, 4.3, blazing fast, and he can be that guy. Just can he stay healthy? That's the question. All right. So this guy, out of Temple. Okay, now Temple had a very tough schedule this past year. Rockwell Armstead. This guy reminds me of Rashard Mendenhall.
Oh, wow.
He's big, he's physical, and he's fast.
Yeah.
And he has quick feet, just like Rashard Mendenhall had. I mean, he can be that guy for you. And I mean, his 40 time was really good. He performed really well at the combine. So I think someone will take a chance on him and just give him the opportunity. I mean, how many times have guys just went down and another guy steps up and you're like, who the hell is this guy?
Yeah.
So that's what we're talking about here with him. Going on, Myles Gaskin. Again, a smaller back, a shiftier back, a guy that can catch the ball out of the backfield. He has really good hands. And against Ohio State in the Rose Bowl, I mean, he kind of came out, had a little showing out party.
Yeah.
He threw a touchdown. He caught 2, had a lot of big runs. You know, he's a tough guy. I can kind of compare him to, in a way, a Darren Sproles, but Darren Sproles is a lot shiftier in my book.
Yeah.
But just player comparison wise, it'd be him.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you got anybody else or?
Yeah, this guy right here, he probably won't be drafted. He probably will go undrafted. But it's a guy that I'm rooting for because I think his story is so. It's a guy that you want to root for. Now, this guy, his name's Darwin Thompson, and from Utah State. Okay, this guy is 5'8", 190 pounds. He's a short guy. To me, he has the strength of like a Leonard Fournette and the shiftiness of Darren Sproles and Warrick Dunn, all like combined into one body. This guy, he front squats 500 pounds, back squats 750, and has a vertical of 39 inches.
Good night, dude.
And he's 5'8".
That's insane. It's like a freak of nature, pretty much.
Yeah.
Like 700 pounds on a back squat is offensive lineman numbers.
Yeah.
You know, that's what your offensive linemen in the NFL are squatting.
Exactly.
Maybe a little bit more, but not much. You're not getting much more than 700 pounds.
Right. So this guy, now, he never started in high school. He was a backup in high school, went to JUCO, was a backup in JUCO, played his sophomore year, actually started, and he worked his butt off and got offers from Utah State and a couple other schools, but that was it.
Yeah.
He ended up going to Utah State and tearing things up.
Yeah.
He was on the field every single down. I mean, he played top teams. He played against Boise State. He played against a Big Ten school. I think he played against Penn State and had 2 touchdowns. Carried a guy on his back to the end zone one of the runs. He's a tough physical guy that I'm just rooting for. I hope he makes it. And if he does, you heard it here first.
Absolutely. Is that all you have on the running backs?
Elijah Holyfield.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. If this guy, I can see him going to Baltimore.
Yeah.
They run the same offense, the spread option, the shotgun option. He's going to be, if he goes there, I think he will do really well.
Yeah. And so this is just basically a breakdown of running backs that are coming out your rookie year. It's not to say, hey, you have to draft these guys, because even the top guy, if the top guy goes, you know, Saquon Barkley's there in New York, but like I'm trying to hurry up, think of a team that, you know, someone like New York, if they go to a team like that, you know, they're not going to be draft worthy. Or if they go to, you know, somewhere that has a big name running back already, if they go to Arizona, you know, you got David Johnson there already, and Arizona's offensive line and all that great.
Right.
You know, you're not going to want to draft this person. You know, you may be super, super late as a flyer, but you're probably going to end up dropping them.
Right.
You know, so, you know, this isn't necessarily to say you're going to be drafting these people. After the NFL draft in April, after that, then we will come out and say, this guy's worth drafting.
Right, exactly.
This guy's worth drafting.
Right now, we're basically just putting these guys on your radar if you haven't been having enough time to check out the combine, or you haven't had enough time to check out pro days or do your research. We're here to do that for you, and it's been a pleasure, let me tell you.
Absolutely.
You guys have no idea how much game film I've watched in the last 2 weeks. I'm telling you. My wife is getting, like, kind of worried.
Kind of worried.
Yeah, just a little bit. She's like, are you going to ever put down YouTube? I said, nope.
Hi. It's me, Kristen, your wife.
I'm busy right now. I'm busy watching Josh Jacobs against Oklahoma. Leave me alone.
This is amazing. You want to watch this with me? Absolutely not.
All right, go watch your vampires and stuff later.
Say yes to the dress. Yeah, so I'm surprised I made it to the end of the podcast. I did not think my voice would hold out. You know, Charlotte was good to me once again. I went down to Charlotte with Brian Schlamian, Riley C, and Luke Elmore. So triple shout out right there.
Triple shout, man.
To the Whistle Boys.
I'm so happy for you.
Yeah, so we went to the world's largest bar crawl, or I think that's a self-proclaimed world's largest bar crawl there in Charlotte for St. Patrick's Day. And let me tell you, don't go to the world's largest bar crawl. Don't get me wrong, we had a blast, but you can't move at the beginning of the night. Like, if you're going to go later, because like it was just worth it to go to Charlotte and have a good time. But all the bars, like, to get in was just so packed. We ended up, like, our first bar we went into was Hooters. And then, like, we went to this block party type deal where they had a parking lot blocked off.
That looked cool.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. But there were so many people there, and there was only, like, 5 bathrooms. So we would literally go up, order 2 beers, and then go stand in line to go.
It was just like Crush Fest.
That's it.
Yeah. I mean, but honestly, let me ask you this real quick. What did you think was going to come of the largest bar crawl? Did you think nobody was going to be there?
So there was like 27,000 people that bought T-shirts, and then come to find out we were idiots and we didn't need to buy T-shirts.
What?
Because all that did was covered your cover charge.
Uh-huh.
Well, the bars that we went into didn't even charge a cover. So we didn't even need the T-shirt. But 27,000 people bought T-shirts, and there was probably another 10,000 people there without them.
That's crazy, man.
That place was
slammed. That is crazy.
And you know what? Everybody was there to have a good time. Everybody was just happy-go-lucky. We just had a great time. Mm-hmm. Everybody had with that many people, and like I didn't see a single fight. I didn't see, anything crazy, outrageously crazy. It was such a good time. We had a great time. I had a whole bunch of beads and a whistle, and for some reason, it must have been like the first time I blew the whistle and got some laughs out of it. It just went way overboard. I blew the whistle on everything. It's now our slogan
for the bar crawl 2019.
Yeah, let's just say, Mike, blow the whistle.
Got it.
So
that's
but we are
technical foul.
I was calling fouls and throwing flags on everybody. So it was a good time. It was a really good time. But we're Overtime Fantasy. We go beyond the whistle, even in Charlotte, North Carolina.
We go beyond it.
And actually, it was cool because we were down there for the NCAA, the ACC tournament.
Right.
And it was right there, and Brian and Riley got to go to a game. It was incredible, dude. Like, they left the game to come meet me and Luke. They left the Duke, North Carolina game.
That just doesn't happen.
They were 10 rows. They were 10 rows from the court. So they were in the lower bowl, 10 rows from the court. They left the game and gave their tickets to somebody right there and come see me and Luke at the bar.
That just goes to show you how important you are.
That's it. And they had tickets to the championship game too, and they sold those. They ended up selling them though. So, all right. Well, thanks for listening. We appreciate all the support, all the love. Check out www.overtimefantasy.com. That's going to have our podcast up there. We got a couple articles. Check out the articles. Check out our podcast. Phil, what you got?
Well, basically what I want to do is I want to challenge people who have listened to this, and if you didn't like my comparisons or you think you might have a better one and want to just throw it out there, be sure to comment on our page, man. I mean, comment on our stuff. So we'd love to hear some feedback and talk to you about what you think. So don't be shy to do that. And like Kendra said, we appreciate all the support from our friends and family, and thanks for tuning in.
Yeah, when you go to overtimefantasy.com, scroll down to the bottom of the page, and there's a comment section. I think it's labeled "Ask a Question," but if you just want to leave a comment, leave us a comment.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. Thanks for listening.
Thanks.